Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my new video. I'm going to be talking about the hot weather today. We've had some amazing hot weather today. 32 degrees, which was totally amazing. Really enjoyed today. But I just want everyone to kind of have some thoughts about what's happening in America. In America, the temperatures are much higher, and I believe Phoenix in Arizona is one of the hottest, cities in America. Temperatures going up to 109 degrees or something along those lines. So Arizona is a very hot place. And looking at America right now, you can see Phoenix right here. And the Phoenix population growth has gone up to 18% from 2010 to 2019. And you can see some of these population growth: Austin, Texas as well, Orlando, Miami, Atlanta, Dallas. So you might think, so what's wrong with that? So I want to kind of show you this map as well. So you can see the temperatures in America over the last kind of few years, and you can see the temperature which is going to be going from 2040 to 2060. You can see how hot these areas are going to be. So places like Phoenix and Texas, we're talking about Florida as well, California especially, they're going to have major issues because it's going to get so hot that people are not going to be able to live. You have serious drought issues happening across the western part of the United States. Lake Mead is at very low levels, and apparently there's some stories coming out today. I saw on the news that there's some World War II boats which are being discovered because it's gone down to such a low level that these really old boats are being discovered, and bodies are being discovered as well, and it's crazy, absolutely crazy. And there's reports saying that if it goes down any lower, the Hoover Dam will stop working, which means it will stop supplying electricity to millions of people around the area. The water as well also feeds a lot of people, millions of people around the west side of United States, like California, Los Angeles. You got, Lake Mead, you got Lake Powell, you got the Colorado River going down to very seriously low levels. This is going to affect a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of people migrating to other parts of the United States which is cooler or where there's more water, because right now there's a lot of rationing going on. So a lot of agriculture, a lot of farmers are getting less and less waters. A lot of people that live around the area also getting less and less waters as well. And that's a problem. It's a problem because when it comes to agriculture and it gets too hot and you can't water your plants, then your agriculture level is going to go down seriously, which is going to be affected, and it's also going to cause a food shortage. When you have less water for businesses, they're going to have to move out. There's a big story about TSMC building its factories in Arizona, and they're going to complete by 2025, 2026, and you'll find that by the time they complete building their factories, they'll have no water left. And a lot of people don't really realize this, but creating semiconductors, you need a lot of water, and plenty of water, fresh water, not salty water. The bad news is the world is falling behind in all of its climate promises. Europeans are moving back to coal to fire up their power stations, give energy to businesses because of the issue with Russian gas, because of the special operations in Ukraine. The Europeans are not getting as much cheap Russian gas anymore, so they have to import a lot of expensive LNG from America, And a lot of that stuff is not ready yet because you need to build LNG stations. You need obviously to transport the LNG, and with the cost of oil right now, the transportation costs are through the roof. You got to build more tankers. You got to build LNG terminals. There's a lot of process that needs to be done, and they won't be ready for another 10-15 years. So in the meantime, a lot of European countries are now decided to just bite the bullet and carry on burning coal and build more coal fire stations. It's a really change of heart, really, because I think climate change is one of the major issues for us. And even America, Biden is supposed to be very much green. He was a very much, he cancelled a lot of oil contracts and gas contracts when he came into power. Now he's kind of reversing a lot of the decisions as well. So it doesn't look like we're heading towards the 2 degrees that Paris climate had promised, the 2 degrees increase in temperature. It looks like we're going to be heading towards 3 degrees very, very soon. The world is getting hotter. I mean, I can certainly feel it in UK. Today was absolutely hot, and I'm going to focus on America, what this could happen to America. I mean, climate change is a problem that's happening all over the world, so obviously the whole world is going to be affected, but I'm going to focus on what's going to happen to America first of all. So first of all, there's going to be a lot more wildfires going on. There's not going to be enough water. Obviously, there's going to be less and less crops, less food in America, less agriculture. They're going to lose money because they won't be able to export as much agricultural products to the rest of the world. America's going to be losing money because the insurance prices for properties around West, around California, around the South is going to be so expensive. People are not going to afford it. And all of these people who have been buying properties in California, in the southern parts, they're going to find out that they're going to have to move out, and they will lose all of their money because they're not going to find any buyers to buy their properties, because if it gets too hot to live there, and nobody's going to buy properties there. They're going to buy properties in a place where it's much more cooler, more abundant water, and more agricultural goods, things like that. So a lot of people will lose a lot of money. A lot of people will go bankrupt. There'll be a lot of people going homeless as well, and this is going to affect the economy, because a lot of these cities are going to turn into ghost towns, and there's going to be hardly anyone living in there. And you can see here, these are the niche zones, and in 2070 you can see it's mainly the northern part of America, and a lot of people are going to be moving to these areas because of the climate. The problem is housing. There's going to be a huge massive mass migration of people, and there's not going to be enough houses for anyone, not going to be enough properties for anyone. A lot of the houses that were built along the coast, along the west, along the south parts of United States, they're going to be demolished, or they're going to be abandoned because nobody's going to be buying them, or these cities are just going to be abandoned, and there won't be enough material left to build new properties, because with the current cost of raw materials, everything has gone up. The cost of building a house, cost of concrete, cost of timber, everything has shot up. So it's very, very expensive to build a house, and even if you build a house, it's going to be very, very expensive for people to buy the house. And with right now, with the way economic issues are, it's going to be very, very tough. So you can see the population growth again. Phoenix, Austin, there's a huge amounts of people living along the coast, west coast, southern coast, and they're going to have to migrate. And the people with money, rich ones, will be able to do it with no issues, but mainly the black community, Hispanic community, the poor community, they're going to be stuck because they won't be able to move, they won't be able to afford it. They'll have to kind of go to these other places as homeless. So it's going to be really, really tough for the poor community. As you can see, we are heading towards the red. If we did really, really clamp down on CO2, really pushed with renewables, I'm talking about the whole world, I'm not just talking about America, by the way. You know, if everyone actually focused on climate change rather than pushing for wars, rather than pushing for NATO expansions, rather than pushing for all these proxy wars, rather than confronting China, rather than confronting Russia, if everyone kind of pulled together and tackled this climate change, it can be easily done, and we can easily hit the blue area here. You've got the moderate emission scenario. But the way we're going right now, we are heading towards red, and we are heading there very, very fast. So I talked briefly about the agricultural parts, and you can see the percentage decline in crop yields, and you can see then the southern parts and in the western parts, a lot of the agriculture along these areas will really, really suffer, and a lot of farmers will go out of business. They'll be forced to move as well. So it's going to cause major food shortages, especially now. You can see there's food shortages happening in America right now. So imagine food shortages with all these farms going out of business as well. It's going to get even worse. As you can see, some areas are going to get worse hit than others. There's an 83% decline in Oak Country in Texas, Montgomery County in Texas as well. So Texas will be heavily affected. Some areas also going to be hit by hurricanes as well. There'll be a lot more extreme weather events like hurricanes, tornadoes, hurricanes coming through the Gulf of Mexico, for example. It could be places like New Orleans being hit again. The best places people are being moved to are Milwaukee, Detroit, Buffalo as well. So Detroit was a major city in America. Had a huge manufacturing base, and over the years people have moved out of Detroit. It's become very much crime ridden, but a lot of people are now moving into Detroit back again now, mainly because of the weather and its links as well. So Detroit could be a very much an up and coming city. Most of the infrastructure is still there because it's quite a major city, and that a lot of people can move into Detroit. Buffalo is a really good choice as well. Milwaukee, anything along the northern part of United States really. In terms of GDP, they're saying that United States could lose up to 8% of economic output. I think it's going to be more than that, because of the farmland damages, because of all of these climate migrants moving, all of these people who have lost homes and properties. They're going to be moving. They won't, a lot of people are going to get bankrupt. You buy a house with all of your savings in Arizona, Phoenix, Texas, and a few years later you find out that house is worthless. You can't sell it, so you got no choice but to be homeless, and basically you're done. I think it's going to be more than 8%. I think this is going to prolong a really big recession in America. For my American listeners, it'll be good to get your thoughts on what you think. Obviously you guys know best. You guys live in America. You guys, if any of you are living in those hot areas, let me know. What's it like living there? Are you looking to move? Are you looking to stay? It'd be nice to know what your thoughts are. Anyway, I'm going to move on to the next discussion. Russia suspends operation of a major gas pipeline to Europe. So the major gas pipeline they're talking about is Nord Stream 1, and they've shut it down for maintenance. And this is one of the reasons they built Nord Stream 2, because this maintenance to Nord Stream 1 is nothing new. It happens regularly, and this is why they built a second pipeline, Nord Stream 2. So while maintenance happens on one pipeline, gas flows normally through the other pipeline. So this is normal, except the Germans that have done something really, really stupid. They shut down Nord Stream 2 because the Americans told them to do it. So it's absolutely stupid on the German side, and not only is it affecting Germany, it's affecting the rest of Europe as well. They're already getting lower gases through Ukraine anyway, and through other pipelines anyway, and also because of the war, everything is very, very expensive. So it's another case of Germans just shooting themselves in the foot, and they probably deserve it. There is one or two ways out of this. Number one, they can open up Nord Stream 2, which I don't think they will do. And number two, they can wait until the maintenance is over. They can ration gas, electricity. So yeah, good luck with that really. Having, less showers in this hot weather. Crazy, absolutely crazy. So the US supplied HIMARS has killed quite a few civilians in Donbass, and apparently I'm hearing reports that they have leveled buildings in Kherson as well. A lot of people have died as well. So the story is about how Ukrainians are releasing around 1 million strong people, and you can see here Ukraine has 1 million people ready to do a fight back. And my question is, it just sounds like a lot of BS to me. I mean, this is a modern war. What is 1 million troops gonna do in this modern war? What they're gonna march towards the Russians, with the AK-47. It's not gonna make any difference. The Russians will just blow them out of the sky with missiles and rockets. 1 million soldiers who are untrained is nothing. You're just sending people out to their deaths, and that's what the Ukrainians are doing. Most of their skilled soldiers are either dead or dying or injured or captured, and these guys have been fighting in Mariupol, fighting in Donbass, and and these 1 million people that apparently they are conscript, they are forcing people to fight. There's pictures and images of people being chased in supermarkets, in shopping centers. Police officers are grabbing these young kids and putting them into battle. So you see these 1 million soldiers. Most of them probably don't want to fight in this war. Most of them are probably not even trained. So I just don't see this going anywhere, to be honest. However, these HIMARS seem to be quite dangerous. They are obviously long distance missile launchers, and this could kind of probably give Russia some damage, unless Russia finds some sort of counter, which I believe they will. But it looks like this is causing Russians a great deal of worry in the meantime. So we'll see how it develops, and we'll see what happens over the next few days. So India is going to be the largest populous country in the world. It's going to overtake China this year, or by next year, I mean. So last year India was around 1.3 billion. This year they're about 1.4 billion, and next year they're going to go close to 1.5 billion. The population in China is leveling out. Less and less people are having kids in China, mainly because this is what happens, when you bring 800 million people out of poverty. People want to study, people want to work, women want to have a career, before they get married. Women want to work, women want to be independent. This is what happens in a modern society. This is what's happening in the West. Less and less people want to have kids. They rather have a career, they rather work, they rather enjoy life, and this is what happens. Because China has been a very poor country over the years, a lot of kids were being born, but now as more people are becoming richer, living in cities, people just want to work. And it's also, you're expected as a man and a woman both to work, because it's very, very expensive to live in the city nowadays, especially in China, with how high house prices and things like that. So it makes sense for the man and the woman to work. The woman doesn't want to stay at home making kids. She wants to go out there. She wants to work. She wants to be independent. And this is what happens in a modern society. It's the same happening in Japan, everywhere around the world, really. Same happening in Korea. So the problem with India is there's still a lot of people who are below poverty line, a lot of people who are in poverty. So they are obviously making a lot of babies. And the problem India has is the same as every other country. Obviously, with the climate change, India is suffering from very severe weather changes. Some cities is almost unlivable, and also some cities have been designed very in a very ungreen way. So you call them a concrete jungle. And the problem with concrete jungles is they keep the heat in, and it becomes very humid, and there's not many trees about as well, so it gets even hotter. The waters are drying up. We're talking about the Ganges, is drying up as well. So there's less and less water. Last year there was a water crisis in New Delhi. There wasn't enough water going around, so there was fights between its nearest towns and nearest cities to ration water and send water out to Delhi's, and they could still have the same issues this year as well. So India's got huge issues, and with the huge population, the problem is most of the people are below poverty. There's a lot of people who are not working. There's a huge problem with unemployment in India as well, so that's a huge problem. So there is no point having a huge population if most of your population cannot work. So how are you going to feed them? There are huge issues. So I think this is not good news for India. I think this is actually a major problem. And obviously the more people you have, the less resources you have in terms of water. More people will be taking up water. More people will be needing food. So India will be needing a lot more food, a lot more water to kind of, feed all of these people, and you got to also give them jobs as well. So I don't think this is actually good news for India. I think this is bad news, and it's getting worse, especially with climate change. And as India gets hotter and hotter, it's going to be much harder to keep these people happy. So, the next story, we have our very own Liz Truss here, trying to, look smug, as you can see, trying to pretend she's some sort of new Margaret Thatcher. She's been put into the front seat to be the next leader, and I believe she will be the next leader, and I've been saying in all my channels. The Americans love her. She says all the right things to please the Americans. She says she wants to fight China, she wants to fight Russia, both at the same time. And the Americans obviously love her for that. So I believe there's people behind the scenes who are going to push her to be the next Prime Minister of UK, which is not a good thing. And I think if she gets any sort of power, I think Britain is just going to collapse, absolutely collapse. It's already, in recession right now, and with her in charge, she's going to absolutely destroy the country. The people who know me quite well will know that I'm very much a space enthusiast, so I'm really again excited, waiting for some new images from the James Webb Space Telescope. So I'm hoping to kind of go through them, spend some next few days looking at them. So I'm really, really excited by this actually. So if anybody else is a space enthusiast, let me know and we can kind of talk about it and discuss this ourselves. So I'm coming to the idiot of the day, and the idiot of the day is obviously Biden again. He's going to Saudi Arabia to kind of mend some bridges with MBS. I don't think he will be able to mend any bridges. I think a lot of the damage has already been done. He has completely humiliated MBS in so many ways. And one of the things he did do is block sales of weapons to MBS, because these weapons were used in Yemen to kill Yemenis in the Yemen war. So what Biden is going to be doing now is looking to resell these offensive weapons to Saudi Arabia, and it's just going to fuel more killings and fuel more war. And again, you can see here, Biden adopted a tougher stance over Saudi Arabia's campaign against the Houthis in Yemen, which inflicted heavy civilian casualties, and Riyadh's human rights record, particularly 2018 killing of Washington Post journalist and political opponent Jamal Khashoggi. So the problem that America has right now is they look like a bunch of twats, and Biden looks like a hypocrite. He's full of double standards. When you stand for human rights, don't do one thing and then do another. For example, you can't just ignore all of these Yemeni civilians are being killed in Yemen and then talk about that you love the Uyghurs in China. It just shows pure hypocrisy, and this is why the Middle East doesn't trust America, and this is why none of the Middle East countries have actually stood up and said anything to China regarding the Uyghurs, because they know this is all double standards, it's all BS, it's all hypocritical, and the Middle Easterns and the Arabs see all through it. They'll see, and Americans' actions in the Middle East is purely hypocritical, and America doesn't have any leg to stand on. I mean, look at all the atrocities they've done over the past 20-30 years to Afghanistan, to Iraq, the millions of people that they killed, with all of these Abu Ghraib prisons, and the list goes on. And suddenly they care for Muslim Uyghurs. It just doesn't make any sense. It's just absolutely hypocritical, nonsensical. So that's all I wanted to say for today, guys. Let me know what you guys think, and don't forget, look forward to reading your comments in the comment section. I'm also starting doing some live chats. Had a few technical issues today, but we'll get it working again. I had a very, very good guest in my live chat today, Alex from Reportify and Media. He's a very, very famous guest. One of my favorite YouTubers, so I'm really, really glad I had him. We had a really good chat. I'll be releasing it soon, and we'll be having another chat over the next few days as well. So look forward to that. Make sure you tune in and listen to it. Anyway, that's all I have time for today, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe. If you want to support the channel and help me grow, you're welcome to join my Patreon or locals, or you can just buy me a coffee. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you soon.